it is a frenetic time. And so when you think back of arriving, I mean, it was mid-November, it seemed like. I mean, not exactly your ideal time to arrive in with any intercollegiate athletic program, yet alone in Los Angeles. But the sense of support and encouragement, competitive spirit, to be candid with about feedback from different people has been all over the map, really. But I think that's what makes USC special. I think that's what makes us a program that has the incredible tradition that it has. Obviously, the weather's great. I mean, look at the background of your picture there. I mean, it's gorgeous, and the sunset's going down on mine. And you know, you just think of iconic times and great pieces there. And I don't know. That's why I'm excited about it. But I really felt like we had a lot of momentum going into the COVID-19 challenge. I mean, our men's basketball team was slated to, in my opinion, to be a 7, not an 8 or a 9 like everybody said. We had 3 big wins down the stretch, similar to what happened in football. But you know, I mean, women's basketball hadn't been to the postseason in 6 years, and they were going to go to the women's NIT. And you may say, well, it's not the big dance, but it's the postseason. And I think on the heels of having the HBO documentary premiered on campus and how much fun that was and exciting for all of us. But I think that when you think about priorities, it all rides with arriving in football season and trying to put as much juice and energy and review and reflection and planning into football. I think that that's fair. That being said, though, I mean, I like to go 21 for 21. We have 21 sports, and we want to be 21 for 21. So it was really an embrace of all programs at different times in that process, because I think we had some nice progress there. I think men's basketball, the energy in the arena, for example, against UCLA, that's the vision for the long term for the program. That's it. Student participation that's off the charts, a great energy in the arena, good attendance, and being able to create a true home court advantage. Because if you think about it, across our league, USC is not known for the greatest home court advantage in men's basketball. Well, we want to fix that. We want it to be this special place. I mean, with the number of recruits that are coming in, that Andy's getting in, and we're close on some high-ranked women's basketball recruits as well. And we want those programs to be successful. And then being able to hire Brad Keller as our volleyball coach and have him come in on top of the recruiting process associated with the football program and bringing those coaches in. And I was really proud of Brandon Sosna helping me in putting that together. And Coach Helton deserves so much more credit than anybody gets him for attracting those coaches and bringing them in. And, you know, the league talks about coaches in our league and ADs. Well, we didn't have spring practice and we have a new staff. Well, guess what? We have a new staff too. And Coach Helton and his staff have been impressive. And the way those 6 new coaches have joined on to the other coaches coming back and Graham's leadership on the offense, I was excited. That's momentum. So I'm trying to give specific examples of real momentum rather than just saying, well, you know, they're talking about momentum and things they had. They didn't have it. Well, I'm telling you, we did. And I think it's showing up in our current ratings associated with football recruiting. And again, my hat's off to our coaching staff and the football operation that's really embraced the challenge of saying, hey, we got to fix that.
Agreed.
Mark, you have a really, really good question.
Yeah. So, Mike, I want to go back to, well, first, you brought up Brandon Sosna. What year was that when he posted that picture of you wearing those really cool old school Converse in your Kansas Jayhawk uniform?
That was 1982.
Yeah, those are some great shoes.
Yeah, those were basketball shoes, actually. But you have to remember back in the early 80s when we played, it was like playing on a street with indoor-outdoor carpet over the top of it. So it's a little bit different. And you didn't want to wear anything that you got stuck in the turf with. But, yeah, being an all-league clipboard quarterback is something that's fun to make fun of, and he enjoys doing that.
Yeah, I love his personality. You know, I want to go back to the first time we had an opportunity to meet. And you were kind of walking the media gauntlet at a football practice. and you came up to each one of us individually and listened to us. And one of the things that I took away from that was you were listening. And since then, you've taken the bullets. You've gone out and you've met with the alumni, from the highest end donor to the regular season ticket holder. What's been your biggest takeaway from these conversations? You've spoken about how passionate the fan base is, but when you peel back the layers, what's your biggest takeaway you've gotten from your interactions?
Well, I appreciate that question, Mark, because when you're new, I think it's important to listen. I talked about it from my opening press conference, to listen, learn, and then lead. And I think that no question about it, the knowledge of our base, from you mentioned our donors down to the casual season ticket holder, they know USC football. They love USC football, and they want USC to be successful. And I believe that's indicative on how so many people rallied around the renovation of the Coliseum. I mean, it is phenomenal. And I talk about being the best college football venue in America. I believe that. It is phenomenal. And I think that without question, the base and the people I meet, they want to have us be successful, which is why when I talk about reclaiming the torch, and that's why I like this picture behind me there, is when that cauldron's lit, it's lit up and it's fiery and it's got a sense of pride and passion and commitment. I think that's the same thing that obviously we want to have in the stadium in all aspects of our program. And so when I talk to them, their passion is lit, and they're excited about it and passionate about it, and they're competitive about it. And it's contagious on me. It's contagious on how I visit with recruits. It's contagious how I visit with sponsors, donors, staff members, and so forth. So their interaction and members that are joined us here on this call today, I mean, it has an impact. And I think that I've enjoyed trying to learn as much as I can. And that's why I've been so frustrated of not being able to pick up those daily interactions during the COVID-19 challenge that the whole country's facing. And by no means do I want to insinuate that intercollegiate athletics or Mike Bohn or USC is any different place than the rest of the country. I hope and pray for our country and college athletics and our community and our state, and for the health of everybody, that we can get through this as quickly as possible, because I do miss those interactions, and that's where we learn.
Right on.
Blake.
Hey, Mike.
Atwell.
Yeah. Hey, Mike. Blake Atwell. How you doing? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to see you, Blake. You're looking pretty comfortable there in that couch. Is it you on the couch?
Oh, thanks, man. I've been in Orange County taking care of my mom. I'm at her place, and this
Good
is
for you.
Yeah,
It's been described as Hugh Hefner's bedroom.
There you go. He's got a big smile, and good for you doing that for your mom. That's a good move. That's what things like this are for, that right now.
Right. Yeah. I hope you and your family are keeping safe and everything as well, obviously. But so recently you tweeted a video of a young Trojan fan named Matt, and he was voicing his support for the Trojans. And there's been a lot of excitement around the football and basketball programs, men's and women's, as of late. So I was just wondering if you could sort of address what you think has gone into that excitement, and what can you say about the direction the football and the basketball programs are heading?
Well, first of all, that video touched me because he's just a little bit older than my oldest grandson, and so I'm gonna try the best I can by myself of actually sending a video back to him of some of my things that I'd like to show him.
Nice.
And but I've got to get it right around the house here and make sure it's okay. We're still getting out of boxes and doing different things to get it set up, but I'm looking forward to doing that. And I think when you see an 8-year-old talking about how cool that was and the little things and what it means to him, it just ingrains a sense of purpose and a sense of responsibility in us within the program to help young men like that have great dreams and pride and passion and supporting their team. And so I love it. I mean, it touched me. And like I said, if I hopefully can not butcher up a video, send something back. And I hope to have it kind of be personal between he and I, and not have, it's shared too broadly. But any of those things, I think that, again, it's just a matter of trying to connect and let that contagious Trojan spirit really infect me.
Thank you, Mike.
Brandon Ryder, you got a question?
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
I'm great. Thank
to have
you.
you on the show with us. So I did have a question about, I was going to ask you what the pressure was like coming into the position as the AD at USC, but, you know, after we started this interview, I don't think it was much pressure for you. I want to just know how you embraced the Trojan spirit once you got here.
Well, that's nice of you to say, Brandon. Thank you.
Yeah, you seem like a very cool, collected guy, and you just seem really excited to be a part of the Trojan family. Well,
Again, that's nice of you to say. And it's interesting because you think of, you know, the last three athletic directors, you know, they wore the cardinal and gold. They achieved high levels professionally. And, you know, I like to joke about being an all-league clipboard quarterback, but, you know, in high school, I was a three-sport athlete. I was captain on all three teams, and I love to compete, and I love to win. We won 2 state championships in basketball. We were not the most talented, but we were the best coached, and we were the best team. And I think that sense of team and that sense of competitive spirit that was ingrained in me early. I mean, I'm the son of a high school PE teacher, and we want to win. That doesn't mean that we take shortcuts, I think, but we want to win. I mean, if we were all at one of our houses, so let's say we're all hanging out at Scott's and we're playing ping pong, I'm going to try and win. I want to win. If we're playing water pong with pong balls thrown into glasses, whatever we're doing, you know what? I want to win. And we're going to battle and do that. If we're shooting balls at a basket in the pool, if we're playing one-on-one, of course, I want to win. And I think that's why just a sense of embracing that is so important. And I think that's why I get excited about the iconic band and all the work that they do and that sense of competitive spirit. When you talk to Dr. Bartner, and he, you know, I remember that embrace he gave me my first day, and the band serenaded us and talked about that. It was emotional. And you may say, Mike, what are you doing? That's crazy. Yeah, it was, because he was talking to me about Coach Go and how they talked about, look, we're building a football band. This is a football band, a band that wants to win. And if you notice some of the work that it was subtle to some, maybe some didn't even notice, but the wonderful work of Jamal, the DJ, and men's and women's basketball and the band, we were trying to escalate that intensity of interest and that competitive spirit in the arena through those two outlets. And that's another example. We want to fuel that. We want to win. We're trying to do every single thing we can to give our student athletes the best opportunity to win. And I just enjoy being a part of trying to bring that competitive spirit to everything we're doing. I mean, if somebody's going to measure it, we want to win. So you may say, Brandon, well, what does that mean? Well, where are you ranked in recruiting? We want to win. Where are you ranked in the facility? We want to win that. Where are you ranked in your coaching and their recruiting? We want to win that. Where are you ranked in fan attendance? Where are you ranked on your graphics, your social media, you name it? We want SC to be on the top. And so I think that's just the vision and where we're trying to go with that. I'm not saying we're there yet. We're not. However, if we're going to count it and you're going to measure it, we want to win. And I think that's the attention detail that we work on every day.
And maybe just a little feedback on those last few comments is that, you know, we're actually seeing a lot of what you were just talking about, you know, the social media part, the graphics part, and the assistant coaches part. You know, that was my next question is that, you know, made significant changes on the defensive side of the ball. The offense was rocking last year, especially under the circumstances. It was almost, you know, stunning to watch. And defensively, an entire new staff. What were you and Clay looking for in a defensive staff? Because not only these guys bring a boatload of energy, the recruiting aspect has done a complete 180?
Well, when you start looking at characteristics, whether you're looking for a head coach, a coordinator, or any coach for that matter, I think you're looking for leadership. Well, what does that mean? I think we're looking for people that have the ability to make great decisions, that aren't afraid to take some risk, that have the ability to execute a fundamentally sound effort, whether they're a position coach or a coordinator, and being able to pull that together. And it is about energy. That's why I'm talking about what's going on in the Galen Center, the stadium, all those different things. It's about energy. And think of all of your individual careers and your lives of doing different things. When you are successful and when things are really going well, generally there's incredible energy and passion around you. And I think that's why if we've got to crank up every aspect of external energy that we can, that's what we want to do. And I think people want to be a part of that. Media likes covering that. I mean, so let's just say we're getting ready to play Notre Dame next year, and we've had a heck of a year, which we expect to have. And all of a sudden they're like, well, maybe game day should be in the Coliseum. So do you know what game day looks at? They want to see energy. And you know what? Game day hasn't been here in a long time. So the question is, how do we ensure that they're like, hey, when they come into the Coliseum and we're playing Notre Dame for an opportunity for a big stage to be playing in the next phase of the season, that they go, you know what? Look what's going on at SC. That thing has got energy and passion and competitive spirit and drive. They've got momentum. That's what they want to see. So obviously, that's why we aspire to generate that type of enthusiasm from our coaches. Connectivity to the student athlete, that's back to the leadership part. If you're a great coach, you have the ability to connect with your players with passion and fire and determination and mutual respect to the point where coaches make players better than they think they are and have them play at a higher level than they can play. That's what we were looking for, coaches that can do that.
I have a question from one of our subscribers, and it is a question about the Pac-12 media deal going forward. And it was how can the member schools led by USC help push the Pac-12 into a better national media position?
Well, I think we're talking about it. We've got to recruit. We've got to win ball games. We've got to create great environments. We've got to put on compelling television. And I recognize the time zone we're in, but guess what? I used to watch USC play at 2 in the morning at the end of the games, and how inconvenient that was. But guess what? I watched it because guess what? It was compelling television. It's good stuff. It's exciting. And so I think that we've got to deliver a product where people go, you know what? That league's got it going on. Look at the energy there. Look at the passion there. Look at the great players. Look at the environments they play in. But most importantly, for USC, it's about us reclaiming the torch. Back to that. We've got to reclaim the torch of being an elite football program and competing each and every day for the highest opportunities to compete in the postseason. That's it. So right now, I am focused, and our staff is focused exclusively on USC. Now, do we play an active role in helping work with the league on whether it's budget initiatives, Pac-12 television initiatives, helping the commissioner and anything we can do to elevate our league? You bet we do. Absolutely. However, we've got to ensure that USC is doing what we can do because we want to reclaim the torch and light that thing just like it is behind my head and let people know we're lit. We're on it.
Mark, you had another question?
Yeah, you had talked about the USC-UCLA basketball game at the end of the year. You know, I think it would be naive for anybody to bury their head and say that the football season ended the way it wanted, the way we wanted it to. But to see the basketball season end the way it did, you know, for me, it was the culmination of everybody's frustration in the beginning coming together at the end. And the Trojan family, I don't know if you could bottle it, but that was the most Trojan family I'd ever felt in a good 10 years. So how do we get the basketball program to be on the same par, the same level where the fans want to be there as much as the football program? I know you come from a basketball school. Cincinnati was your last stop. It looks like you're bringing some of those ideas along with you.
Well, no question. And I think one of the most proud I am about what we did at Colorado is when I arrived at Colorado, we were the only basketball men's program in the Big 12, because we were in the Big 12 then, that didn't have a profit. So that gives you an idea of what was going on with the attendance. It goes on with the whole enterprise, and hiring Tad and putting energy behind that drove. And it started with the student section, and the student section brought it. And we named the student section there the C Unit. And we started injecting them with pizza and prizes and trips and all kinds of different things because they really were a part of the starting lineup that made a big difference there. And I think that's why the UCLA game at the end, that's the vision. So we've got to find a way to connect with not only our students, but our fans to say, hey, it's fun to come watch games. And it's a participatory event. Our fans need to understand that if we're going to be good in basketball, and we were good at times, very, very good this year at times, and we were going to go into the tournament with a lot of momentum. When we have that type of environment behind us, our recruiting is going to continue to take off. We're going to win more games, and we're going to have athletes really perform at a high level for us. So we have work to do there, but we've got to build it, and we have to invest in it. And it's a coaching cliche, but it's often said you accomplish what you emphasize. So you know what? If we're going to emphasize it, we'll accomplish it. And it's just the same thing as the model we did with football and the recruiting and the coaches and all the different pieces there. If we're going to accomplish it, we've got to emphasize it.
Yeah, just bringing in the former players and the football team and the alumni, it was a magical moment that night. So if you could bottle that somehow and keep that message going to the students, get out to the Galen Center. USC could be the same as a Florida and Ohio State. Those programs that their arenas are filled, but their stadiums are filled also. USC should be at that same level.
No question. No question. So that's why I'm excited that I had an opportunity to participate in the inauguration of our new student body president. And Truman's awesome, and his vice president, Rose. And you know what? They're with us. We've already had a nice several meetings with them, and we talk about it. And I've got to get over more into Greek Row over there and spend more time in those houses and visiting with those students. And we're looking at ideas like putting a student section on both ends of the court rather than one end, you know. And so we're working on that, and that makes some people nervous, but we're like, hey, if we're going to give our students a sense of ownership, then they've got to have decent seats and the ability to influence a game.
That's good.
Blake.
Hey, Mike, so you were a multi-sport athlete in college, right?
Yes. Like I said, I played, but I wasn't an elite player, but I did play on two teams. Yes. Baseball and football.
Right. So as a multi-sport athlete, I mean, I think that more attention sort of needs to be drawn to people that are able to do that, because you're juggling multiple sports and academics at a Division I institution. A guy at SC that does that right now, you know, notably that most fans will know is Drake London. So I was just wondering if you could speak to what the challenges are of that, and what do you see in a guy like Drake?
Well, Drake is such a phenomenal young man, first of all, and such a great representative of our program. But I think that in fairness to any athlete that plays two sports or more, you have to really understand what goes into that. I mean, basketball practice was going on for what, a month and a half, maybe even two, before he even had a chance to get on the floor. And wow, that's a huge disadvantage, regardless of how talented he is. And then you start thinking of all the academic pieces, the working on his skills and his ability to get his mental focus right, the abilities to gel with a team. So imagine you guys doing your calls and working, and all of a sudden you've been going for 2 months. You do it every day, a couple times a day. You're having dinners, you're having meals, you're having film, you're working out, and then all of a sudden here comes some new guy, and it just visualizes Zoom. All of a sudden, hey, there's a new boxer. Who is this guy? Why is he here? We've been doing this for 2 months. We got a nice little rhythm. Now you and you and Mark and Brandon and Scott all got to share a little bit of yourselves to make room for that person. So that just makes it incredibly difficult. But if we have athletes like that can do it, we're going to support them. And my hat's off to Andy and Clay for making that work.
Very cool.
Hey, I got one more question.
Another question. Go ahead, Brandon Ryder.
Hey, and this is a little out of left field. I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but you spoke of changes coming with the basketball program or with the 2 student sections. I think that's a great idea, by the way. Has the idea ever been brought up of moving the USC sideline to the south end of the Coliseum, though?
All right. So it ever been over there? In front of the – and is it ever been over there?
So, no. So the story behind that is back in the day when UCLA and USC used to share the Coliseum, UCLA used that in as their sideline. So USC refused to ever use it.
Okay. So how long have we been on the side we're on?
Oof, a long time. But I think it provides a disadvantage to us because in those 12:30 games, the sun is beating down on the home team while the visitors are usually in a really shaded, cool area.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Maybe that's something we look at. Although I want to be really careful because obviously some of the fans say, wait a minute, I bought my season tickets and got my priority to be able to sit on our side versus the other side.
Right.
That some coaches believe that being opposite the press box is a disadvantage because of so many people trying to steal signals and all that because they have the ability to see it so much easier. But I don't know. We'll add that to the hopper. We enjoy looking at new things. We'll add that in there.
Cool.
But it goes back to when we shared it with UCLA.
Yes.
And talking with former players, I'm sorry, Brandon. I don't want to cut in. Okay. The former players seem like that they've been reached out to, just in the guys that I know that I've talked to. How important is this? This was a huge topic when Pete Carroll took over. Similarly to you, he embraced everything that USC was. He wanted to know everything. He talked to everybody they could, and that's kind of the approach you've taken. How much have you reached out to the former players and to the alumni to kind of rally the sport? Because, like it was mentioned before, that basketball game, the USC-UCLA basketball game, those players, those football players that were there, made an impact. I know that. I've gotten feedback from guys you'd like to play on your football team.
Well, obviously, anybody that's put blood, sweat, and tears onto our fields of competition or courts of competition are important to us. And during our call today with our staff, one of our staff members talked about the impact in a video that one of our former players gave to our team through Zoom, and how powerful that was to be able to talk about their experience and maybe to help them get through this challenge right now. So I enjoy it. I'm an old school leader. You call me, I'll call you back. And if you're a former athlete, I mean, I'm hearing from a lot of our former swimmers right now because we're looking for a swim coach. We heard from some wonderful volleyball leaders when we were working on hiring Brad Keller on the football piece. They've been wonderful. I enjoyed sending a note to Tony Baselli and so happy that he was able to get through his own challenge with COVID-19. Is it a lengthy? No, but it's a touch, and a touch out of respect and appreciation. And I think that when we were out early doing some of our outreach to donors and so forth, the first one to have Sam Cunningham there was awesome, unbelievable. And his comments were like so succinct, so spot on, so appropriate, so awesome. I mean, you can't help but be in the room and go, oh, man, Sam, thank you. Thank you so much. And then to go to a booster's home and have great quarterbacks with us, and Janet Evans there, who gives so much credit to USC for her success as a swimmer. She didn't swim for us, but she graduated from here, married a Trojan. And having those type of athletes around is just awesome. And why? They talk from the heart. They talk about what's going on. It's a team game. It's a Trojan family enterprise. It's not Mike Bohn or Clay Helton or Andy or anybody else that we're talking about. It's everybody's deal. And I think that's why that Trojan family thing, we've got to fuel that. And so if we're in a family, we've got to listen to them and learn from them and take as much away from them as possible and inject it into our recruits, our fans, our media, our university, and really push that along. That's why I was so excited to see Will Ferrell send out a message to the entire student body message. Student body with a wonderful message. That's awesome. Will, way to go. Way to be an awesome Trojan. Was it about athletics? No, but it was about being a Trojan. And you know what? We needed that then. And that's awesome. That is really awesome.
And I think that's what it comes back to from my initial question to you, Mike, was the alienation that was felt for some time. And you and the group that's there now, it's bringing it back together. And that's what's so important. So like Scott was mentioning, the former players, the alumni, they want to hear and they want to know that they're welcome back whenever they show up. They don't want to have to get permission. That was what this current generation was brought up with when Pete Carroll was here. And I'm not to belabor it, but to be able to go to practice, to mingle with the Ronnie Lott.
Anytime, come.
Yeah,
we were excited that our spring, every single practice was going to be open to the public.
Yeah.
I hope we have a problem. I hope we have a problem that we don't have enough room. I think that would be quite a message to our team. And how do you think our team and our coaches, our 6 new coaches, our staff, how do you think they would respond to that? Can you imagine? You don't think they're going to work harder, play harder, laugh, smile? Heck, if we have to, we might bring the Trojan. If we fill it, we might bring the band over there and just have a little post-practice party and let everybody know this is what it feels like. And you don't think recruits would be paying attention to that? They would love it.
Yeah,
Mike, keep preaching. Keep preaching. You can see the smiles and the excitement here alone. So when this message gets out, it's going to get exponentially bigger.
I have a question. This you may not have an answer, but oftentimes when new coaches, I haven't often heard athletic directors talk about time frames. We have with coaches where they'd like to be competitive at a certain level after X amount of years. Is there anything like that for you 5 years down the road? If you want to be competing for a playoff spot or just a Pac-12 championship, which really control is the Pac-12 championship part, but.
Yeah, you're talking about football primarily, I'm going to guess. But,
I'm sorry. Yes.
I think, we just hired Brad Keller. Guess what? Brad's going out as first-time head coach, has an incredible pedigree as a coach and coached on the men's side here. Guess what? He's going out expecting to win every match. So why would he say, oh, no, I'm just looking for progress. I just want to win about what they won last year, maybe 1 or 2 more. No. I think we expect our athletes and our coaches to go out and compete every single game, that fight and mentality that we're notorious for. So that's it. It's it. Let's tape our ankles and let's go. And I think that's that participatory event associated with the fans, our coaches, our recruiting, everybody associated with the program. That's what we want to do. We want to battle and we want to compete. And we're lucky to have the ability to compete. And I hope and pray that, as I said earlier, that our country can be in a position where we can do what we do and play a role in lifting the spirits of our alums and our community and even in our state and across our entire league and pulling that together. But let's go out and battle and compete and with a fighting mentality that represents who we are.
And my other last question is, we don't know how much you're able to talk about. The fans have been wanting Reggie Bush to come back into the picture at USC, to be embraced by the University of Southern California, which you guys don't really have full control over.
I see you, buddy. I'm seeing it.
Is this important to you as an athletic director to at some point see Reggie Bush have the ability to walk on that campus at USC into your office and be a part of the Trojan family in that aspect again?
Well, absolutely it is. And I know it's important to our whole campus. I know our president has taken steps to begin to review that process. And there is a process, and it's defined primarily by our friends at the NCAA. But I look forward to being a part of that and seeing where that takes us. But again, I think that I wasn't here during those times, but I'm well aware of all those different pieces. I was at the Texas USC game in the Rose Bowl when Texas came back and beat us, and I say us, and obviously watching Reggie play. So I understand it, and I think just like when we heard the fans talking about the UC Davis games, the USC Davis game, and we immediately moved on that. We hear loud and clear what we're hearing from our fans on that.
Blake, you have another question?
Hey, Mike. So what can you say sort of about the way in which, and Mark kind of touched on this too, but the way in which the basketball program ended the season, what do you think is going to be key for them to sort of keep consistency and keep that consistency going? Because I think especially in terms of students, right, that's a major aspect of that is putting together a product that's consistent year in and year out. So what do you think is going to be the key in terms of the basketball program to keep that going?
Well, Blake, it's funny. You're going to think this is really silly, but I was thinking about that yesterday. So you all know SC well, right? So how do we start the game in our arena? What do we do? What do we do? As the game gets tips off, what do we all do? What are we asked to do? I'm not saying
everybody's standing up. Everybody's standing.
Yeah, standing up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And stands for, what do we stand for?
The national anthem, or?
Okay, good. And then the game starts, and when are we able to sit down?
After the first basket is scored.
By who?
Can I phone a friend?
See, you're asking the people that.
Oh yes, once the Trojans make a basket, everybody can sit down.
Mark's right. You're right, Blake. It wasn't a trick question. You're right. When we score,
we fight on it.
You're asking
right.
me what I think is going to make a difference for us to be consistently good. We have to play defense. So why aren't we standing for defense? So if I'm the visiting team, and boy, they're still standing, that means I haven't scored yet. And so I think that if Andy was on the call with us, he'd say that their defensive intensity was critical. So I think what's going to help us be good is basic, fundamental, good basketball. We have to play great defense. We have to out-rebound the other team. We have to put our hands on the ball more times than they do through deflections and any type of aggressiveness. And we've got to play good, smart basketball with great shot selection and play as a team, which we did late. And my hat's off to Andy for doing it. So it's simple. Let's prevent them from scoring. When they shoot, let's make sure we're getting the rebound. How many games did we win down the stretch based on offensive rebounds? A bunch. And then throughout the season, you think of the putback that Nick had against TCU, right? Big bucket. Mm-hmm. You're thinking of things like that. And then playing defense, getting a stop. I won't even mention free throw shooting, but you know what? Free throw shooting is another part of it. That's fundamental sound. We've got to be better at making free throws. So it's those simple things. That's it. That's all we need to do. And guess what? All of those we can control each and every game going in with that mentality. And as our mentality as a team is focused around those areas, our fans will begin to be focused around those areas. So let's quit standing for when we score, because we don't like to wait around to have to score first. Let's make it tougher on the other team. We're going to stand for defense.
Has there been any talk about maybe investing some more resources into the support staff with the basketball program behind the scenes, like we've done with the football program? In other words, with the analytics, with the social media, it's been really successful on the football side. And that's, I think, what I was alluding to earlier with investing into the basketball program to get it on par with that football.
The answer is yes. We have room for improvement there still, but we were able to use some of our graphics people and help them with some recent initiatives that we thought were helpful. And we want to have all those. If we're going to measure it, Mark, let's measure it. Where do we rank? Where are we associated with those analytics in different aspects of the program? And if that's where we are, then we want to make sure we rank amongst the top in the nation. Because if that's the expectation, we need to invest there.
Good to hear.
Brandon Ryder. Mike, we won't keep you forever, although we would love to.
Oh, I'm good.
Brandon,
I'm
you
good. I
have
get to see Brandon's great smile right in front of me, so I love it.
Hey, anything USC makes me
That's
smile,
quite a
Mike.
captain's chair you're sitting in there. That looks pretty comfortable.
So this was supposed to be my my personal dad man cave, but my son has turned it into his train room. So I just steal it to do these video casts with my buddies every now and then. So
Love it.
But
Love it.
you talked about staffing behind the scenes with the basketball program. Is there any more staff hirings that could possibly take place with the football program before we start the season in the fall?
Well, we'll see. We're under a current hiring freeze on campus. However,
Okay.
that being said, I want all your listeners and for the four of you to understand that there's certain aspects that we think are essential, and we're working with the central administration on trying to get those done. But right now, there's a hiring freeze, and we're working to respect that. We're a part of the team on campus, and but yeah, we're looking for opportunities to enhance the staff where we can.
Right on. I know it must be tough going through the day-to-day process of trying to plan for a season with the coronavirus pandemic looming overhead. So, you know, kudos to you guys for taking it day at a time and attacking this, because I don't know how you handle it.
Well, that's nice, Brandon. I mean, it's tough. I mean, imagine, let's just say that I'm interviewing for XYZ on to join your staff, or to back to, you know, building another box down here, and you guys like, I don't know, what's he look like? I don't really, can I tell? Is he with us? Is he not? Would he be one of us? It's hard to read people through this type of mechanism. So that's our world right now. And so it's a different piece. I take great pride in having a gut feeling about people and knowing and getting a good read from people early. And so I'm like, okay, if I see Mark on the sideline and I'm like, well, he's here, he's got a smile on his face, he's got a good attitude, he's not walking in looking for an opportunity to cause a problem, stick his foot out, trip somebody, or, you know, create a problem. I mean, that's good. You want to be around good people. So, but trying to read them and all these different aspects of it make it very, very difficult right now.
I have a little Woody Hayes in me, but, you know, I'll keep that hidden.
Hey, Mike, you just touched on how different of a world this is that we're living in right now. And I was just wondering, could you give the listeners, the viewers, the subscribers to USC Scoop an inside window a little bit into what it's like being an athletic director during the COVID-19 crisis?
Oh boy, I'll tell you what, I could give you a lot of adjectives to really reflect what it is. You know what? It stinks. It's really tough. It's hard. It's rough. And I say that not because of me in the chair I'm in. It's because of the things we've been talking about. That 8-year-old boy that sends me the video, the fans. But you know, we've run a student athlete centric initiative from day one, and it'll always be that way. I can't imagine. I know I couldn't learn this way personally through Zoom. You know, our athletes are on Zoom looking at these little screens like we're on right now all day long. They're getting a Zoom from their faculty. They're getting a Zoom from their advisor. They're getting Zoom from their tutors. They're getting Zooms from their strength coach and their coach. And that's, you know what, that's not how we live and how we really exist. And it's wonderful we have this technology. I'll give you an idea of the number of Zoom. So the first month after the shutdown, the entire campus had 236,000 Zoom sessions featuring 1.536 viewers, participants in the first 30 days. So, I mean, that gives you an idea of our classes and all the different things that are going on. So that's what makes it rough, because you're trying to get your own rhythm. And one of the neat things for me is a side benefit, Blake, is I get to see people's names on the bottom of Zoom calls. So I'm like, oh, okay, all right. That's how Culkin spells his last name. Schrader, I thought it was with an O. Okay, I get that. Ryder, he's with a Y, not an I. Okay, I'm getting that. So that's kind of a nice, but I'm the eternal optimist. I'm always looking for something positive. But when I say it stinks because I just know for a fact our athletes are going through a really, really tough time. But I was so excited. I was able to talk to one of our athletes the other day. He lives in Hawaii, and he was going through a tough time, and he got some really, really good news. And I called him, and he picked up. And I was on the phone with him 45 seconds, and I'm just like, hey, great. We're so excited. And he's like, hey, I really appreciate the call, but I got to go. I got to get back to my class. And he hung up, and I'm like, awesome. He's doing the right thing. But I thought, wait a minute. I was trying to talk to him and love him up. But guess what? In about 2 hours, I got the nicest email from his mom saying how awesome it was that I called. And she started talking about all the support from SC and the doctors, and academic support and all the advisors and everything, and how much that touched them. And you know what? That fired me up. That was awesome. So you get highs like that, but then you get the lows of going, boy, I didn't get a chance to see anybody or go to practice, or they're not able to do what they want to do. And, and the recruits and the challenges of what they're going through. But as I said, I'm the eternal optimist. So we believe that this COVID-19 is going to help people want to stay closer to home. And you know what? I think that'll help us, because I think people are going to see firsthand our commitment to our student athletes here that's amongst the elite in the country, and they're going to want to be a part of it.
What have you learned about the University of Southern California since November that surprised you in a good way that you did not know about?
Boy, the talent on President Folt's team is amazing. I'm fortunate enough to serve on the president's leadership team, and it's called the PSLT. Everything's a TLA anymore, right? You know what a TLA is, right, Mark?
No.
Anybody on the call? Come on, Brandon. You know what a TLA is?
I know we are TLDR. Too long, didn't read.
Yeah, there you go. 3-letter acronym, right? But this one's a 4-letter acronym. But everything's an acronym anymore, right? But being able to, I'm really fortunate that President Folt put me on the senior leadership team, and the talent in that room is unbelievable. They are no egos. They are extremely talented. They have incredible data, history, knowledge, a competitive spirit, which really surprised me a lot. They want to win in every area that they are. I mean, our Keck medicine team right now is battling like heck to ensure that we're doing all the best things we can to bring our toughest and most difficult cases to Keck, and they believe they can solve it. And our provost and the communications team and the business operation and the CFO, and I could go around the entire room, all of them, the government relations, the president, everybody. They are talented people, and they are all in. And they are all in with athletics. They're all in with the deans. They're all in with all things USC. And you know what? That's inspiring to be a part of that, because I can tell you it's not that way on every campus. And being around that talented group every time we get on, I mean, I'm getting ready to get on here tonight. We get on every night at 5:30, and we go to about 7. And you better have your ankles taped, because guess what? They're on. And even if you're on a Zoom call, they're on, and their brains are clicking, and ideas are running, and they do a great job. That has been a huge blessing, huge blessing.
I was going to ask you, in your time when you need your go-to, your private space, is there a place on campus that you go to where you kind of just be by yourself, reflect? Is your own personal spot that you found?
Oh, that's an interesting question, Mark. It was my office for a while in the fall, because I would sit there and I'd look out the window and the band was practicing. And then I'd start my day with the lacrosse team practicing out there. And then I'd see the track team practicing out there. So I started wandering out there every once in a while just to get some fresh air, get in the sunshine. I'd walk up about 8-10 rows into the bleachers there and sit there and watch our athletes. Sometime I'd watch the band. sometimes I just watch who was wandering around out there, seeing what was going on. And that was really a good place for me to just kind of do that. Another one is to go down into the lobby area outside of Heritage Hall between Little Galen and the McKay Center. There's an outdoor area out there. There's a wonderful fireplace over there. I haven't been over there by that, but that might be kind of a fun place. Any place I can see maybe somebody or meet somebody new, that would be awesome. I mean, that's kind of where I feel like I can get that connection.
Sure.
All right, we'll wrap it up. We'll wrap it up with this question here. I can't even imagine how many people you've talked to, whether they're USC alums, boosters, and even if they didn't go to USC, former players. Has there been any advice or a suggestion from any of these people that really kind of clicked? Like you're like, yeah, I got to try this out or see if we can make this work.
Boy, I've given numerous examples to this call where we got inspiration from others, and maybe it's not their exact idea, but we take it and trigger something. You know, I think that I just encourage our former athletes and our constituents, people like you all, that just keep coming up with good stuff. We're all in it together. And I said this in different engagements with our booster groups, and they were tough. They were tough, but I said, my dreams are the same dreams as the four of you and our athletes and our coaches. We all have the same dream. We all have the same goal. We all have the same expectation. So you know what? Let's embrace it and let's go for it. So that's why I just hope people keep coming up with the right ideas and right suggestions. And who knows, whether it's a sideline or who knows the different things that we're going to do to try and, again, have some fun and, again, be a national leader associated with everything we do.
All right. Well, hey, again, thank you very, very much for joining us today. This has been very informative and enlightening and a lot of fun, to be quite honest with you. And
yeah, I enjoyed it too. I'm happy to do it anytime. Anytime. You guys have been great. I've learned something here tonight, and I wish you all the best in staying healthy. Your families, people you know, and let's keep staying positive and see if we can't get through this challenge. It's going to take a lot of the fight-on mentality that USC represents, and hopefully we can influence others and coming out of this thing better, brighter, stronger. I know that's what we're working on every day right now.
You got it.
Thank you, Mike. Great to meet
Thank
you.
you, Mike.
thank you very, very
Get it
much.
on the screen. There you go.
Thank
Fight
you.
on, guys. I appreciate you. Have a great night.
Take care.
Appreciate it.